Golly. I got eggs, bacon, waffles, toast. Eggs, bacon, waffles, toast. Eggs, bacon, waffles, toast. Web3 Breakfast, Jay changes the host. Good morning. What's up, Jay Change? Turbo made it co-hosting. Yeah, they do their thing. If you savvy, Web3 GM, grab a plate and a seat. Let's begin. If you got something to say, come and grab a mic. We got one rule, no douchebag. Alright. Retweet the room, bring some friends. If you start to talk, you gon' stay to the end. Retweet the room, bring some friends. If you start to talk, you gon' stay to the end. Monday through Friday, we got the Sorrow. 10 a.m. Eastern Spaces with the purpose. All about the community focus, they deserve it. Come and speak your mind with no regrets, but you serve us. Pizza on Friday, working off midway. Get the blood pumping, Web3 music is thumping. I got eggs, bacon, waffles, toast. Eggs, bacon, waffles, toast. Eggs, bacon, waffles, toast. Web3 Breakfast, Jay changes the host with the most. Retweet the room, bring some friends. If you start to talk, you gon' stay to the end. Retweet the room, bring some friends. If you start to talk, you gon' stay to the end. Good morning.
Yo, good morning, GM fam. We doing? I guess I left it up a little loud. I had to, I guess, maybe yell over that. What's going on? My brain's a little fried, Turbo. That workout, man, I tell you what, got me juiced up today.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Hopefully I'm coming through okay. I don't know. Because, you know, like everything over here, man, I got all the walls are sweating and stuff, man. You were pushing it so hard, bro, that it was literally sweating into my space. You was putting that work in, bro.
I'm going to tell you something right now. Full transparency to everybody in the Web3 Breakfast community. I puked after the workout. I did. It was one of those, man, it got me. So, you know the workouts,
I love that.
Right, man. It's right. It did its thing.
And that's what I wanted to ask you, because we didn't really get a chance to talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how we do our thing. You know what I'm saying? We're 10-minute guys. Look, don't give us that shit an hour. Don't give it to us a month ago. Give it to us in the 10th minute, and we're gonna put that shit together and make it happen. So we didn't really get an opportunity. You know, the showers, dude. Getting a shower and a blunt and breakfast in 30 minutes is like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a jam. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't get an opportunity to talk. So I just needed to know from you. You know, like, do you think, I mean, is that, like, was it something that you really felt like every single person could do?
100%. Yeah. I mean, with the, as long as you have dumbbells, because some of them require dumbbells, like literally it was like plank jacks and jump, like, you know, the workout obviously was just, you know, to get your heart rate elevated, get the blood pumping. And then everything was either just dumbbells or using your body to work out and keep it going. Yes, anybody could do it. Literally anybody. Like, you might have to start slower if you are, you know, out of shape, or, you know, it's your first time kind of doing any kind of activity like that in a while. But that's the thing. Like, you go at your pace until you build that up. And then, you know, pretty soon, you know, after a while, you know, you just keep climbing up the hill. But I'll tell you what, man, I was gassed. I was gassed. That. Like, I'm not like horribly out of shape physically. I think cardiovascularly, maybe. It's been a while since I've got the old heart pumping like that. But, you know, like, I was tired. And again, I puked after it. But it was all like really good feelings, right? Like, I feel really good doing that in the morning. Now I'm kind of devastated that I got to take 3 showers a day, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, the extra showers is definitely a thing. No, you know, like, and I'm just excited, man. You know, like, for me, you know, I've been doing this for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, in this workout, kind of it's just finding your pace. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I was a coach at Orange Theory, you know, and I own my own gyms and stuff. Like, I had to do these workouts all day, right? So I couldn't go like ridiculous out the gate, because by the time 7, 8, 9 o'clock would come around, and I got to demo these exercises again and kind of work out with that crew. I couldn't be completely out of gas. But see, like Jay, you're an athlete, right? So you're used to working to the max. You know what I'm saying? Like you go all the way. And so it's just kind of finding that balance, right? Like we're not competitive athletes anymore. You know what I'm saying? We want to be like able to go up and pick up like a quick like flag football game or something like that, but we ain't trying to play the whole season. You know what I'm saying? I would say that's a pretty fair assessment.
I'm playing the whole season, man. I'm starting. I'm playing every down. I'm playing both sides
I knew
of the ball.
it.
You know that.
Golly.
I don't have quit in me. And by the way, I just posted up to the nest. In case you guys don't know what we're talking about, we started the Beast 45 Fitness kind of like demo this week, right? So Turbo and I are doing the first full week this week. We've got it live streamed. I pinned up to the nest. You can watch the video. Please feel free, guys. If you want to tap in, we'll put the link up to that all week while we test it out. You can test it out with us, and then the actual program goes live next week. But if you want to tap in, watch, see what's going on, you're more than welcome to kind of figure this out. Because I think that's maybe the whole half the battle is like you don't know what to expect. But if you just get a chance to watch what we're doing, you realize like, oh shit, okay, it's really not. I don't want to say it's not that difficult, because again, I was gassed, but it's definitely something that people can do.
Yeah, and so I think I'm going to talk to Jay today. I'm going to talk to Jay Chains and see, maybe we could do like a special discount for this week only for the Web3 Breakfast Club. And I'm going to put the link in and we'll put the link just in our community chat so they can start getting it. Maybe we'll give them a discount or something. I'll talk to Jay Chains and see how he feels about that.
Yeah. Why don't you talk to Jay Chains, see how he feels about that?
Oh my gosh.
I hate talking about myself.
What's up, Seven?
How do those people that refer to themselves in the third person like actually get away with it? Like, how do you manage that? Because
like Al Gore. Al Gore is amazing. I love Al Gore.
Well, I think for me, because I have so many characters, I like to stream something on my Facebook, and so I've been let's see, just Mike, and then I was Porter all through school, and then I was Sergeant for many years. And then it was Coach Mike, Fitness Mike, and then Turbo Made It. So if you know anybody of those names, so it's really easy to talk to yourself.
Now it's Coach Turbo.
Coach. I think we were, instead of being coaches, instead of being called coaches. Oh, the Ruggler.
You can't forget the Ruggler, dude. Like that's gonna be a persona. I want a shirt with the Ruggler on it.
You
like
can't. And you know what's cool about that? You can't rug your fitness gains. You literally can't. Mm-hmm. You can't. So it's like you're like the anti-hero in some way. Or
you could if you ate McDonald's multiple times a day. You could probably rug them that way.
I remember
you wouldn't live long.
I'll never forget this. There was like like everybody had like the classic like real big dude in high school. And so, this hit was, like he was doing like his fitness thing, right? He was like going through his thing. And so he would have his like the morning shakes that people would drink. What were they called? Like the Slim Fast shakes, right? The Slim Fast shakes, but he would eat like the whole thing of donuts like with his shake, because it's like, bro, it's not really helping your cause. I mean, appreciate that.
Yeah, we had a homie like that too.
It's like the ones that drink Diet Coke, but 8, 10 cheeseburgers. Like the Diet Coke's not going to be the one to kill you.
Well, like his parents, like he went to the doctor, and of course, the doctor's like, you got to get on nutrition, and they're like, well, look, we're going to buy us meals, and this was like before like that was an actual thing, right? Like this was like back in the day, like they had to find somebody and then pay them to make him meals, and they were like incredible, healthy meals, but he would just eat all of them in one sitting, and we're like, bro. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. I mean, like even back then, and look, let me just rewind. I will be honest. There was a period of my life when I was the fat, sneaky kid. It was me. Even when I went in the Army, bro, I was fat. I went in the Army fat. Dude, I went to the recruiter at the Air Force, and I showed up, and I was probably like 250, 260. And the guy was like, man, he's like, you'd be better as an Army soldier. And he was just basically saying I was too fat to get in the Air Force. And so the Army's like, bring your fat ass over here. We're going to war. Come on now.
We'll get you.
Shit.
They did the same thing to my brother. Like my brother showed up and he was 285, and they were like, you can't fly a plane, son. And he didn't go. He didn't join the Army either. He was like, well, if I can't fly a plane, I'm not going.
Okay. Hey.
Yeah, I was a lot easier than that. I went to my recruiter.
No, go.
It's the delay.
There is a delay. The delay is crazy.
See, I know. And here's and the thing is, it's like some of these stories, like I have to think now, because now I'm on my Facebook and stuff, because for like the last 3 years I've just been in hiding. Like nobody on the other side knows what I do or like what I've been up to or any of that shit, right? So they're all over there confused. So I just have to be kind of mindful of like some of the stories that I share because now like people are watching that know me. So you know, we just
Turbo's
keep it
new
moving.
money now,
Well, I'm new money. Tell them, Jay. I'm hanging out with the biggest crypto influencer there is. What?
Shut up.
Took me two and a half years. I'm in. I'm his sidekick. I got y'all.
He said, it took me
The
2.5
biggest.
years.
Shut up.
Like two.
All right.
I made it.
I love this. This is so funny. Let's get through really quick a little house cleaning. I know it's a little early. But I do want to get kind of onto our conversation, talking about the metaverse today, building infrastructure, talking about community, and then there's probably some other tie-ins that we're going to put into it. But really quick, guys, if it is your first time here, checking out the show, we are Web3 Breakfast. Good morning, GMGEGA, wherever you're coming in from. We appreciate you being here. This is a community show. It's we are the community. You are the community. So what we love is to say, come on up here. If you want to be a part of the conversation, make sure that you raise your hand, request to speak, and we'll be glad to bring you up here. But Turbo, how many rules do we have here? One. Just one now. Yeah, we dropped to just
one. Yeah, just one. Just one.
Dang.
One rule. Don't be a douchebag.
Don't be a douchebag. So no sexists,
Don't
no
be a
racists, no
douchebag.
homophobes. That's it. That's all that we ask. But we do appreciate everyone's
All
opinion
right.
and opportunity to come up here and be a part of the conversation. So today we're going to be talking on the Reach Metaverse, building infrastructure of virtual worlds, what they've got going on, how they have kept their community going, how they keep the I guess the motivation going when we get to the bottom of the build. But really quick, I do want to get through a little house cleaning here because I got some great news. If you check out nftgo.io today, we've been looming in the high teens, and it was it was very volatile on this barometer of the market sentiment for the last little while here. But we're at 31 today. We're cool. We're not cold anymore. We're cool. And I love to see that. Turbo, you got your hand up. What's up, dog?
Yo, this shit right here confuses me, bro. I've been quiet for too long. Every time that blue chip index goes down, the market sentiment goes up. And I ain't said shit because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. And I want to make sure I get enough data before I bring this up. But damn it, I've been watching this now, and I need to know. It don't make no sense.
Well, what also doesn't make sense, Turbo, and this would be great because I actually know the guys very well that run the site, and I think that I've been on their show before. They've been on here, but I would love to have them back on, and maybe we can explain this in a little bit more depth. Because the one thing that also confuses me, Turbo, to be perfectly transparent with everybody here, is the also when the barometer goes up, the NFT volume in the last 24 hours usually is down by like double digits. So like right now, it's down 12.5%. Now, the market sentiment barometer went up from 28 to 31 today, right? So we got a couple point jump, but everything's down. The blue chip index is down, volume is down. So I also would love a very clear indication, because we know the barometer is just the overall popularity of the NFT market reflected by the different indicators. But the blue chip index is calculated by weighing the market cap, and that's in the ETH-USD pair of blue chip collections to reflect their performance. Blue chip collections are reliable and notable collections with good performance, both fundamentally and quantitatively selected by NFTGo. So, I mean, how these metrics compare to each other and why they will show a downtrend when there's a better market sentiment. I would love further clarification on that as well. And if anybody knows and you are in the crowd, come on up, please.
Yeah, because like I will say, I've been I was talking to Seven about this yesterday, and we did I actually bought another Super Puma. I did get back in. I did a little reveal, so, and we broadcast so everybody can see what that looks like. Look, I got the shoes. You know what I'm saying?
Did you get the physical pair
and I want the nostalgia. They are coming this month.
Really?
So they already sent out the other ones. Yeah, so they sent out the other ones. So this month we're getting the ones with the flames on it and shit. They look like a metaverse shoe. Like, I mean, this shoe literally is like a metaverse. And so I wanted the Puma for the nostalgia. You know what I'm saying? And so I was telling Seven, I was like, what if we did pull a legendary? And so we didn't get a legendary, but we did pull one that was 0.12, paid 0.08 for it. So there's some profit there I'm holding on. But man, I've been kicking back and forth about getting a sneakerhead. They're like down to 0.06. I love that project. Like when I came in, that was a hype project that I worked my ass off to try to get in, and I didn't get into it. That and the Invisible Friends. And so I'm like, damn, like I would like to have one just because it was something that I enjoyed. But like, is this the time?
Of course, this, in my opinion, this is the time for, if there's any collections that you wanted to get into that historically during, the last year that you really enjoyed, you love the art, you love the community, but maybe you got priced out. I mean, you go back and you look at those things. I mean, there are deals absolutely every single place. Like, I'm hoping maybe to scoop another mutant soon. Like, this is the time at like nine and some ETH, when those fuckers go up to like 20 or 40, like that's a good investment decision.
Yeah, I mean, like, bro, I am having a hard time sleeping at night. It's Ethereal's fault. That's it. I said it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
just wait.
And I'll leave that there. But man, dude, degen tunes are like with like 0.1. You know what I'm saying? There's so many NFTs, and so maybe that's what they mean. The index goes down, so people kind of buy them, so it makes the sentiment seem like it's higher. That's kind of what I was thinking. I definitely would love to have that conversation, and thank you for allowing me to take you off the rails.
Well, here we go. No. I don't think it's off the rails, because it all kind of plays into this, and you got to think like, tying into all this metaverse land, and again, we're going to get into the infrastructure and all that stuff conversation here with Reach, and I know they just threw up 100, so maybe they've got some perspective on this. Yo, GM fam, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I was trying to think about it a little bit. Hi, I'm CJ. I'm from Reach, and we can get into all the metaverse stuff in a minute. But just thinking about that, I wonder if it has any connection to, as the like fiat value in different currencies and different chains decreases, it's easier for people to get into these these projects they've been looking at. And then when it goes up, they're like, oh, I got in, but I still want to hold it. So your volume isn't changing as the chain's increasing, but as the chain decreases in value, more people are moving around in these projects.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Definitely. I mean, like, there's so much there's so much that we can look at right now when we think about this, especially like with the metaverse land. I mean, because like even sandbox land's down to like 0.3 right now, maybe like 0.4. It's like right in that area the last time I checked. I could be off just a little bit, but I mean, that's like that is a realistic price point for somebody to be able to get in, because you're if you have kids and they're playing Roblox, right, and they're at that age, you can make this investment right now for them. So when they become 20-year-old kids, like that should not be playing Roblox anymore, right? Like we get them off the Roblox, they now can transition into building these worlds, and you already own land. Like where it's going to be 3 years from now is going to be crazy. Now, Sandbox, obviously, with that whole scare with the SEC and all that shit, that's going to be a thing. I don't know how that'll kind of turn out, but that's something to be mindful of. Moving forward as we're thinking about these sandbox lands. But other side deeds, right? Like, dude, they're definitely within striking distance, and that gets you into the ecosystem. So, like these are kind of some of the things I think about. I know Craig definitely wants to jump in, because he wants to like beep beep.
I do want to add, Craig, before you pop in, kind of to what you were just saying there, Turbo. And I think, like maybe this is part of the discussion that we want to have too, because I think it's a hot topic right now, what's going on, right? With all the FUD that's happening with the SEC, with the lawsuits, all the stuff. I posted something today that, PayPal disclosed that they've got nearly $1 billion of crypto on their balance sheet, right? PayPal. Right, PayPal they would know to get out of the game if they were supposed to get out of the game. Then you've also got banks that are allowed to hold crypto on their balance sheets in 2025. So like really quick, let's just make sure that if you are in this industry, like don't be a paper hand, like start holding your shit, because they are trying to shake you out so that they can have a bigger interest, they can have a bigger market share, they can control the narrative. But if you sell your shit, then you have no voice. So don't sell your shit.
Well, I mean, and even too to that point, Jay, like they're picking and choosing who the players are. You know what I mean? Who they get to pick. Because I mean, like, why would you bring in Sandbox? Why would you bring in Cardano? Why would you bring in, like Matic, like into these questions? And really, and forget the other ones. Like, let's just kind of stick to Sandbox, right? Because that is literally a game. All of the rules and everything are all built around this.
It's not. It's not just a
game. And now they want to change the rules.
It's not just a game. They know it. They know that it is an entire ecosystem. It's an entire economy being built, and they want in on it. And they're not going to allow people to have the majority in it, or at least they're going to try, right? That's why you might just think it's a game, but it's not. You know, all of these. I mean, Decentraland, you know, I don't really know if that one really has the chance. And I know that they ink really good partnerships and they do a lot of big things, but I don't think Decentraland is going to be it. Now we know ApeCoin for Yuga, excuse me, for the other side, that is something, they are the luxury brand. So I think, you know, as far as competing metaverses go, and Reach, please, you know, at some point, you know, just jump in here. Craig, you as well. You know, I think the other side and Sandbox are going to be the two that compete for the biggest market share. Now you figure out how to get those things interoperable. Now you got Ready Player One to some extent, because you've got the more realistic, and then maybe you put in a hyper realistic one as well. So you got hyper realistic, you got the game economy like other side, and then you got the pixel stuff for, you know, the people that enjoy the pixel. Because I personally don't. But Craig,
you just said it. You just said it. It's a game. It's a game. Like, they are literally games.
Well, everything.
Like, whether or not it's an entire ecosystem, right? Because RuneScape, right? Like, we had RuneScape before this. Like, kids were making like tons and tons of money, but it was all inside of this game. They were going Craigslist and like selling their shit. I mean, I had buddies that were making thousands of dollars doing that.
That's good hands.
But there was no way to convert cash. Okay, I'm sorry. All right.
Well, me and you. Hey, listen. Maybe this is maybe one of these days we'll just have a debate show, and you and I can just go back and forth. But I feel bad because, like, remember, you like to encourage all these class action suits against my the people holding their shoulders up. So we would like to get to some hands so that we don't have
my bag up
today.
I won't go too deep into it, but can you hear me okay?
Absolutely, man.
Good morning, Craig.
Firstly, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. And I just quickly want to give a shout out to all of the amazing women in Web3 who are in this space right now. Maxine, Lady Boss, Savannah, Jenny, Ellie, Nikki, all of these women, the superstars of Web3 are right here on this stage. So shout out to every one of you. Yeah, I do. You know what I'm like. I always recognize the women in Web3 because you are the superstars here. And anyway, I'm moving on. You guys know that I am probably the second biggest metaverse researcher in this space.
Sorry,
I won't get too deep into it.
What was your question again?
Huh?
Uh-oh. Are we having a rug issue? Reach, pop
That
down.
was the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Reach, pop down. Pop down. We'll bring you back up. Okay, there we go. Craig, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, so you are exactly right. You know, this is gamification, right? When you talk about the metaverse, this is not just about.
Oh, maybe Craig's the ruggler.
Oh no, we're losing Craig.
That was me.
That was you?
No.
Oh.
No. I'm good. I'm clear. I'm good. I'm sending time out.
Craig, you're the ruggler today. Pop down and then come back up.
Sending time out.
Reach, go ahead. And then we'll go to paper hands.
All right. Was there a comment or something other than what we were talking about earlier that on Sandbox and Decentraland and games?
No, I think that's where we kind of, it was just like the gamification of the whole ecosystem.
Definitely. I want to touch on your point on the different levels of realism. So I think, there's a lot of different ways to do this. And actually going back to what I think Turbo was saying about how kids are much more comfortable in engaging in 3D environments right now, just because of like Minecraft, Roblox, Fortnite even has like a world building type thing built in. So the overall comfort level with it is immense. And so the next generation is basically needing more tools to which they can use to build in virtual environments and build virtual environments. So that's where, like, when you're talking Sandbox, Decentraland, and then potentially other games that are realistic or hyper realistic. I think actually limiting it to games, there's two things that are kind of problematic with that. One is it limits the opportunities that people have, because say someone has a business idea that they want to do, there is possibility to create that within that environment. But there's also challenges that you're trying to run a business through a game, where I think people are going to be looking for that 3D virtual experience, and just like kind of like Ready Player Me, as it gets more immersive and more easy to translate between these different worlds and environments, you're going to have places that are no longer games, but are just simply places of business in a virtual world. So that's where I think looking at what these platforms offer in the terms of, you can get land, you can have something, and then that's ownership permanently to build in it, or whether they lease out their tools for people to build in more of a like a white label experience. I think a lot of projects are going to look towards doing that. And I think it's really interesting when you start looking at the different like tastes people have for aesthetics, because you'll have some people who are diehard for that voxel style and the just like more cartoon like worlds, or more gamified worlds, and then you have other people and businesses looking more towards like corporate experiences that want a more realistic experience where you have, for example, there's an avatar system that we partner with called Avaturn, where you can take pictures of your face and you get a realistic avatar that goes in the environment. So if you have like corporate meetings, that's something that higher end adoption I think will require, is at least not the mandate for it, but the opportunity to have that level of experience. And then you switch your avatar system, go jump into a different world and play a game. But I think it's really interesting, one, the comfort with 3D environments, and then two, how are people going to then use that tool as it becomes more available?
You know, and only time can tell all that, right? And you know, as we kind of get more through, you know, this technology, where I personally would love to see it, and I know that we got guys that, you know, have taken, you know, my mutant, for example, and turned it into a voxel style, right? So like, you know, the capability is there, and we need to find ways to make it easier so that you could, you know, you hop into one world, you know, with your avatar, whatever it is, on whatever chain it is, and no matter where you go, like you can just still be there, like it just, you know, it works for you. I know that we're going to get there. You know, let's go to Paper Hands, and then we'll go back to Craig.
It's crazy you up here, you know, openly slandering my name, but it's cool because I really am on the same boat when it comes. I'm really on the same boat when it comes to this integration into the 3D social side of like audio and stuff. Plus, we really been sleeping on like VR chat. I haven't heard you guys talk about VR chat or any of the other social virtual situations that have been occurring over the past like 5 to 7 years that have really been getting a lot of traction. And those are not even necessarily games. You can do gamified experiences on them, but they are more social experiences than they are a gamified experience. They're just virtual. So, and you know, situations like these, like VR chat, Second Life, which is an older one that a lot, you know, some of the older cats might remember if they was into the tech internet side of things. But you know, these virtual social audio experiences are another, you know, opportunity for just connection. You know, not even necessarily gamified experience. So that brings a whole nother level of connectivity to, you know, a group of, you know, a group of humans that necessarily can't engage in a public setting, a group of humans that are too far from each other to engage in a public setting, maybe an artist that's trying to touch all of their fans that maybe can't all come together at one place in a public setting, or maybe just, you know, a corporate setting or any of these other entities. And we see Sandbox, you know, other companies like TCG World, which I think we should really take a look at TCG World too, because they got tons of funds to be over here fucking around. And they got a pretty big metaverse as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm very excited. I actually just got through downloading my one of my avatars just now, one of my VRMs. So I'm about to start playing around with it, see how I can hook it up to my webcam, and also see how I can track it and maybe try to do some VTuber weird shit, you know.
I love that, man. I was actually, you know, I've had an Oculus for a while. I haven't even plugged it in or charged it for several months, but you know, I was definitely getting ready to do that again. I think, you know, it's time to start, you know, like you said, get into there, start talking about this stuff. And you know, I don't really know what other options there are besides the Oculus right now. And so maybe that's a conversation that we can have down the road. I think that would be, you know, encompassing more of what's going on in this whole realm. And then as far as getting TCG World, like I know David Evans real well. I think it'd be great to get him on the show, and any of the folks there that are with the organization, and talk about the metaverse. And the same thing with, I mean, because they're on Cardano, right? Or is it Ethereum? No, Ethereum. Who? TCG World, is that on Cardano, or it was on Cardano, right? Originally? Maybe I'm thinking cornucopias.
They have their own.
I'm thinking
They're
cornucopias. It's
working
my
on
bad.
their own chain.
Yeah.
What is happening?
And I wanted to say,
what is happening here?
I was, completely took my thought completely away. Craig, unfortunately, we're gonna have to, if you could just give us a break on holding a hand up, because we have a special
Can you
guest
play the song?
Jay,
Can you do the thing?
Oh, of course, most definitely.
He's like,
Oh.
please, can you do the thing real quick? Everybody knows what the thing is.
Dang it. No, because somehow I messed up my board and I can't play them anymore.
He's gonna play the music. You gotta do it.
Okay. It sounds terrible. How about I just do it without music? How about this? Yeah, it's bad. I'll just do it like this. And coming to the stage, everybody get on your freaking feet. We have a special guest in the building today, coming all the way from just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, a very special adventureful mama. Let's find out what Wit, J Chain's wife, has to say today. What's up, adventureful mama?
What's up?
Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Can I get some emojis, please, for my wife? This is like so funny that she has. I love this that you came up here. That's my wife, Whitney. Hell yeah. What's up, girl?
Good morning. Did I ask to come up?
Yeah, you did. You're
Good
here.
morning, Turbo.
Good morning. I miss you so much,
What up,
and I'm glad that you're.
Hey, Max. How are you? Yay! Finally. Monday morning. Great.
Shit happens, and we just deal with it.
Wait, I know that we had some really awesome conversations about metaverses and education. And like kind of what we could do with education in the metaverse, and with what you have with your mamas. I mean, what comes to your mind when you hear this conversation?
Well, I really think there's a lot that we can do with immersive learning. I think that allowing children, humans, the opportunity to be transported into another area of education or something that they've always wanted to do without physically having that opportunity is really going to be able to give people the opportunity to explore and learn when they may not have had that before. So I think that's going to be the most benefit for youth and education wise. We're looking forward to that. I actually got to participate in a VR experience where I got to be on stage at Justin, what am I thinking of?
The Lion King.
Oh, the Lion King. Yeah, I got to actually go on stage in Broadway and participate in the musical Lion King with all of the actors and the creators and everything. It was really interesting. Obviously, I wasn't physically there. I was wearing a head camera, but it was a really cool experience. Actually brought me to tears. So there's a lot of powerful things that can be done, and we're looking forward to bringing them to everyone. You guys are doing a great job getting the word out.
So a little bit more backstory on that whole thing really quick. So we've got a friend, Steph Riggs. She's like massive in the VR AR world, and she does a lot of high-end production and stuff. And so that was one of her productions that she did was they shot the Lion King on Broadway in that kind of 3D mode right there on stage. But also one thing that she did was very cool, and it was called Kanju, like navigating the Kanju or something like that. So that's a river down in Africa. And when Obama went over to Africa a number of years ago, while he was a president, she was selected to go shoot that, in the 3D VR sense. But also she did some documentary where she sat, in a little canoe kayak thing going down this Kanju River where, it's like a floating river city. So that basically, like, you are just there in this boat and just learning all about this culture, all about what it's like to live there in this. Like when you're saying, like, now you can open up these opportunities for for VR, AR learning, but then now you put in the metaverse, like you can get people in haptic suits, people can actually feel, get like a true sense of things. Like it's so exciting. Reach, go ahead. And thanks, Whitney.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. That's definitely, I think, where I was pointing at with gaming isn't the only thing that the metaverse enables. When you're looking at a virtual platform where you can have 3D environments that people can access from a multitude of different devices, whether they are in augmented reality, virtual reality, or potentially you still need to be able to access it on your phone and your computer, because not everybody's going to be in a VR headset every single day. But it's just like the internet when Web 2 was first growing, and the amount of access and functionality that was able to be unlocked as excuse me, I'm a little under the weather. As the internet got more accessible and went from these massive computers that only universities had to desktops to laptops to we're doing this on our phones now, and the interaction between these different platforms is one of the things that was a key factor in allowing the functionality to keep increasing, because people kept finding more uses for it. So when you add that element of a 3D environment, what are you able to unlock that having a 3D environment, that more immersion lets you do better? One use case that we found that's been really, really helpful, we have a sister company that is doing physical therapy through the engine that we've built. So they're actually doing where the patient puts on the VR headset, the practitioner is on a tablet and adjusting the experience for the person in real time. So say, for example, they can see that the person.
Oh no. Shit. Ah. I rugged our space. I put out a tweet and then accidentally clicked the phone.
You did the switch thing.
Switched it to the burner account. Damn it.
Well, that's all right. We're still live, so like
still live on the stream. We're
get back in there.
Oh geez.
Oh man.
Sometimes
that was so awesome. How am I gonna get Whitney back up there again? Like that just made Mark feel so happy. I tell you what.
Oh, all right. So the space is back up. Hopefully we'll get people popping back in. Oh, 7. I rugged my own space. Damn it.
I'm gonna mute the way out of this stuff so that we don't get the loop. I'm coming in on Twitter.
Coming in on the Twitter. All right. So my apologies, guys, and I will have to explain this, I'm sure, a few more times.
Don't you hate when you rub your own space?
It literally. So here's the deal, and maybe you guys can understand this as well. But like the notifications on my phone, my notifications literally never stop. Right? They just always go. And so I posted that tweet saying I was so excited that my wife came up and spoke on the space. And then all of a sudden the notifications came up right where I was clicking. So it took me out of the JChains account into a burner account. And at that point, I became the ruggler. So my apologies. I did it. I'll own it. That was my fault. But we're back, baby.
That's fantastic. I always mute the room whenever I'm trying to pull somebody up, because either you or Turbo pull them up too quick, and I mute the room.
I was always wondering when it's just like the room's been muted. I was like, oh, what happened?
It's me trying to.
I saw that earlier. I was wondering.
Pull somebody up. I go to see request, like there's a request, and I'm like, oh, I'll do it. I go to do it, and as soon as I go to do it, it says muted room, and I'm like, crap.
Oh my gosh, the ruggler strikes again. And speaking of ruggler, somebody trying to rug the workout, because we're like 9 minutes late. You know what I'm saying?
All right, yeah,
Dang, and rug the space too, just to make like all the who's the real ruggler up here?
I guess it's me. All right. Gotta do it.
Well, hey, you know what? While we get everybody in the room, you know what I'm saying? Let's we're gonna get into one of our into our workout, guys. You know, and we did do the workout earlier, but we're gonna stick with what we have going on here. I'm just trying to pull this up. And you know what? Actually, this is I got a track right here. I was trying to pull up Nessie's track, but I was having an issue getting to that. So when all that stuff happens, so we will definitely have some Nessie tracks in our workouts. I'm gonna be doing some flies. I'm gonna do some seated flies here. I'm gonna work on those lats a little bit. Golly, I gotta remember all that my things. What are you doing? You doing curls?
Curls
Jeez,
curls for the girls.
Good night. My goodness gracious. All right, guys, and whatever you're doing, you know, like definitely get into this. This is RVSELA. This is a new track of his. This is I Am. Get up out your seat. Get ready to work out.
We're waiting.
Find that. It's coming. Are you ready? Let's go. Come on. Let's go. So you don't have to go real fast. You just find that rhythm right there. You just get right in that rhythm. Come on.
This isn't even a song.
It's coming. Jeez Louise. Come on. Come on. You break them off the chains. Jay, come on.
Let them know I'm smarter. Grew up in the trenches, made it out with no father. The glass to my mother, but put me on the roster. I could tell you some stories right now, but I won't bother. I ain't looking for that. Sympathy the whole back. Give your ass for your niggas, you ain't stopping none. I am old, wise, strong, the wise. My biggest that is scary is the voices. I am old, wise, strong, the wise. I am coming to reclaim what was born and back in time. Old.
That's it, that's it, that's it. Come on, let's go, let's go. I know them arms are screaming. Let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go right now. You can either be making excuses or you can make results. We got 15 seconds remaining. Come on, let's work.
Hey, if I already did a workout,
One more,
is it an
one more,
excuse or
one
is
more.
it just a reason?
It's just so an excuse. Anything that keeps you from doing one more is just strictly just an excuse. And guys, that's what I'm talking about. Fantastic job. Whew. Welcome to the metaverse. This is the metaverse. We're here. We are in the metaverse right now. And that, I wanted to make that comment because it is we haven't even fully adopted Twitter Spaces yet. And now we want to go in as avatars and start meeting each other. It's coming, right? But we're still talking early innovators.
Yeah, I'm all for that. Like,
yeah,
I would love to be like if we, and I don't want to put on a big bulky headset to do that, right? Like if it's just a set of glasses or whatever to get us there, but like I would love to just be like in a physical room with everybody. Like that's one of my dreams as like a show host for like, as we go in, and I've talked with a couple metaverses and we're like building it out in a few of them, but to have like the studio there, right? And so, everybody, there's a seat and like you want to get up and ask a question, you're right there. Think of it like a studio, like like Jimmy Fallon or something, right? Where you got a whole studio audience.
No, definitely. I mean, yeah, bro, definitely for sure. But you just said it, right? Like you don't want to wear bulky glasses, right? Like we have to wear the bulky glasses right now. Oh, good, Reach. Oh, of course.
But I could build you one of those by the time the space is over.
I love that. Now,
and people could join in.
Thank you for interrupting.
Yeah, people could join in on mobile and PC, and then VR if they want, but they don't have to.
Well, that's interesting. I love that idea.
Yeah, you got me winded. You made me work out.
I love it. Every 30 minutes.
I think I have the same problem you did. Yeah, well, I had the same problem you did from this morning when you do something, you go all out, and you end up feeling it afterwards. So I banged out like about 70 push-ups.
Hell yeah!
And now I'm feeling it.
That's it, man. Like that's
so
like what we like to say here for Web3 Breakfast is that we're building healthy bodies, healthy minds, and healthy portfolios, right? So like let's take care of, because like we're all like banging our head up against the wall in the desk or whatever at our computers 18, 20 hours a day, whatever it is. So let's do some things that we can, clear that mental fog. Let's, if we're sitting at our desk, like, I don't know, sometimes it's 8 o'clock at night before I eat the first thing of the day. Like, can't be doing that. We got to be training ourselves, like while we're in this shitstorm, like, like call it a battle, call it whatever. Like while we're doing this, like we got to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves so that we can be on the other side of all this shit that we're building, a few years down the road, and enjoy it and enjoy those healthy portfolios.
Absolutely.
So that maybe we don't have to work for a living anymore.
Definitely. And I think that's a big actual factor that scares people for the metaverse is people go, oh, this technology is going to put everybody in this environment where they never leave their house, they never engage, they never work out, and they just try to live life in this other world. And this is where when I talk to people, I try to explain to them how metaverse can be used as a tool to augment, but it's not meant to replace everything. which is where you have to keep doing all this other stuff for mindfulness and mental wellness and physical wellness. This virtual doesn't replace any of that. It's a tool that can be used to augment, definitely.
No, 100%, man. You know, like, and that's the key, right? I see Grateful, you got your hand up. Thank you so much. What's up, family?
Yeah, what's up, GM? How's everybody doing?
Good, man.
We're living,
Can you guys
baby.
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you great. It's Monday, feeling good. We got some workouts in. Had a pretty good weekend, man. How about you? How was your weekend? How you feeling?
Good, man. My weekend was awesome, dude. Did some grilling out and some stuff. Went to a great show last night. Somebody that I really love. His name's Mike Love. He's a reggae artist, and he's super personal with like his fan base and everything. And he actually my wife and I are married, but he actually remarried me and my wife after the show. So I had a crazy weekend, man.
Oh yeah, congratulations.
Hey, thank you, dude. Yeah, it was super cool. But yeah, I think a lot of good points are being brought up. And I guess like to Reach or anybody else that might have like an opinion about this, do you think it's going to get to the point, it's just to touch on what you just said, where you know, people are kind of isolated? What happened a couple years ago with everything kind of pushed isolation and mental health issues a little further for people, but where we have so many different worlds that are so fun and so exciting to be in, where like coming back to our reality, which should never be the case, is going to further people's like mental depression and states of like anxiety and illness to kind of be here, where people are more going to take things further than they really should be utilized for, and want to live in those worlds and basically be depressed to come back here once we get to a point of like certain realism and everything.
I think, you know, there's definitely aspects to that, and that's, you know, a concern. We've talked about that on the show before. We've definitely been on other shows where we talk about that same thing, but we got to like think about it now, like, and maybe a little bit more, and I don't want to say realistically, but with a broader mind. Like, okay, so we lived through the pandemic, we understand what happened. I think at the beginning we didn't really have the mental health crisis, or we didn't realize like this is where it was going, right? But you know, with the inclusion of Twitter Spaces, or you know, Clubhouse, and then now, like, you know, we can get together and do all these things. You know, people have more outlets. People have that ability to come into a space and unload. We've heard it, you know, like you can be anonymous, you can be more vulnerable, you can do that kind of things with this, and then going into the metaverse where you can have, you know, a profile versus a picture of your face. I'm particularly doxxed, and I know a lot of people that are, but some people are not, and they love to have that ability to be more vulnerable. And so I think that's okay. And like, you know, as we build this, and educators and people who are creating the content around the platforms, you know, it's probably incumbent upon us to make sure in our education, and you know, we got people like American Crypto Academy, they were in at the previous space, but you know, building these educational tracks of what to expect for Web3, right? And we're going to be doing that with our Financial Literacy and Blockchain Education Center. But build into all of it the whole idea of, hey, we got to take care of our mentals, right? Like, you could be logged into the system, but like, I know I spoke on a panel, I forget, it was either 2 years ago or last year, about, you know, this metaverse where it is all about mental health. Literally, all you do is you log in and you walk to the edge of the dock, and you can see, you know, the water, and it's, you know, beautiful scenery, and you just sit there and you breathe and you focus. And that's really the whole point, is to take care of your mentals, right? And so now if we plug that into whether it's through interoperability or just, you know, that goes into other metaverses, now you can say, hey, you know, you build into, you know, this metaverse, hey friend, you've been in here for 10 hours, we would like for you to go visit, you know, the relaxation station, and just like go clear your mind, and like, you know, go do some things, like, you know, no more, you know, shooting games for you, no more this, like, you got to take care of yourself. So maybe some things or protocols can be built into it, or hey, you know, it's time to log out, go get some fresh air kind of thing. You know, there should be protocols built into all of these metaverses to just encourage people to step away, so that they don't become a generation of hermits. And that's obviously a scare. And, you know, I've got a 1.5-year-old daughter, and I know that she's going to be growing up with all of this technology. It is my job to make sure that she does not get sucked in And just that's all she wants to do is just live in this digital world, because I'm a very tactile person. I know a lot of people in my family are, and a lot of people here are. I prefer to give a real hug, and embrace somebody in real life versus on the internet. And so we just got to remember, in all of our education and all of our communications and conversations with people as they come in and as this ecosystem develops, let's just remember that we're people, and people like to, touch other people, that kind of thing, and not in a weird way.
Yeah, man, awesome. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're good. I was just going to add on to what he was saying and kind of touch on one of the points that you brought up about people not connecting as much. One of the unique opportunities of these 3D virtual environments is that you're able to connect to someone through a digital medium in a more meaningful way. So just like we were talking about earlier with having a room where you could all be in, even if you're just communicating, be able to see avatars and seeing movement is different than just looking at PFPs on Twitter. And there's a certain level of connection that you're able to have in these environments, but that by no means replaces everything else. And that's where, kind of like to the example just given, like I personally as well love giving people hugs, and when I see my friends and family, I'm a big hugger. But there are also times where I know I can't see them because of distance. And in that case, I look for the means through which I can get the most connection. And if we look historically, because I think it's always good to look at where trends have moved. If we look at how communications technology has increased, going from writing letters, which took so long, there was a personal element to it, but the time between communication made the distance real. But being able to go to a text and a phone call, then from a phone call to a FaceTime, it allows for more connections to that digital medium. But just because I can FaceTime my grandmother, for example, and chat with her and feel more connected on a random Tuesday night, that doesn't mean on Easter I don't go visit her just because I could FaceTime her. But for those opportunities, or not those opportunities, for those times where you don't have all of those other opportunities, I think that's where this technology can be really beneficial. And kind of like what we were saying earlier about the mental health spaces and the relaxation spaces, I think that's a great idea to have prompts, like kind of like how Netflix goes, "Hey, are you still there?"
Yes.
Which sometimes when you're binging, you don't want to see it, but you could have that pop up and be a link like, "Hey, you've been in here for 4 hours. Do you want to take 15 minutes at a mindfulness station," or something like that? And we've actually had a client that built mental therapy spaces on our platform as well for people. And there's some of those that are available to the public. Some of them are private for their practice. But just places where it's just a peaceful environment. There's music. Sometimes there's like a guided relaxation. But those things I think are super valuable. And whether you're in them fully immersed in VR or you're just on your phone and you go to that, it's definitely helpful as a reminder for people that like the mind and how you treat your body is more important, because if you don't have that, you can't even access these things.
100%. And that plays in line exactly with the whole philosophy of the healthy minds, healthy bodies, and healthy portfolios, and why it's in that order, right? Because you got to make sure that you got your mind right. If you don't have your mind right, you can't really help a whole lot. So once you get your body right, great. Now you're going to have a little bit longer life, and now you can enjoy that portfolio that we're building. Plus, it helps you make those better decisions to do a better trade. To get a better entry, whatever, or to buy your NFT or mint, whatever you need to do. Like, it just makes everything better. Turbo, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, actually, I can't think of the name of it right now, but I paid for the subscription for a lifetime. It's on my Oculus, and it's literally you just sit there and you go through it's a meditation like game, and it works on your breathing, and they have like these different things and that you go along with, and it takes you through this little journey, and it just does like mindfulness training. And so, I like it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I use it, you know what I mean? And it's weird. You know what I'm saying? It is crazy to be sitting there like in a chair, like with this thing on, and you're like looking all around. But guess what? Nobody's around when I'm doing it. It's just me. It's just me. That's me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just me there. So it doesn't matter what everyone else, thinks or, like anything else, because they don't know. So do those weird things like, we say all the time, look in the mirror, say I love you. You know what I'm saying? Like, It's weird, yeah. Just do it by yourself.
Not as weird. It's not as weird. I promise you. Like doing the VR thing is not as weird as going to those silent discos when you just like walk by. Like they had one of those on the cruise ship, and I remember like walking by, and there's like no music. It's totally quiet, and people are just with their headphones on, just rocking. It's like, nah, I can't. I don't vibe with that. I just don't vibe with that. That is not my thing.
How do you dance with other people then? Like, because they might be listening to a completely different song, so your pumps might not be, you guys might be pumping into each other, you know what I'm saying? Because you're not listening to the same song. That'd be ridiculous.
That would be ridiculous. Yeah, silent discos. Not a thing that I like. And I know that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it just made me think, with you there,
kinda,
you're just there in your own little world, and now, do you think they're going to have like VR clubs like that where you go in and, you've got, 20, 30 people all in a room, kind of all logged into the same space or same environment? Is that going to happen?
I think so.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Grateful.
Yeah.
Well,
oh, sorry, man. Sorry, bro. Sorry, Turbo.
No,
Dude.
it's Turbo's fault. He's got the worst delay, so it's his fault. So he's just gonna have to use his hand from now on until we can get that delay figured out.
I'm sorry, bro. But yeah, I mean, I think that stuff. I mean, you're already kind of starting to see that with like hosted concerts and stuff like that. So I think that's for sure. I think the metaverse, just in general, like is going to be a massive, massive industry in its own, but a huge sector of Web3. And I mean, like in the last cycle, it was almost just like a green candle word. Like, it's crazy, dude. Like how many projects I was hopping into just because metaverse was such like a like a hot narrative to be in for the last cycle, where things would just pump. Like people were just throwing money into them without even really looking into the game or looking into what they're doing because it was a metaverse project. But yeah, I mean, I think education is going to be huge for opportunities, especially in other countries potentially where people don't have access to things that they need. And then also just from like a corporate standpoint and everything, like certain, a lot of times with really big corporations and in enterprises, you got to like fly across the country to go to all these meetings. And yeah, I think it's going to get to a point where it's like, we have all these people from around the world. Everybody can just tap in here. And so I think there's a ton of different aspects to it, and it's going to evolve really, really far from where it is now. But yeah, it's all interesting. It's in its infancy stages, which is what's crazy about it, is that it's still in its infancy, and what it's going to turn into, I think, is going to be just ridiculous. But yeah, I'm sorry, Turbo, dude. Go ahead.
No, so you're absolutely right though, and I'm grateful. I think there is. It was either Dubai or somewhere in the UAE.
Come on.
Oh, we got a hot mic, and Emmy is going to change her diaper. Whitney, I did have something to say about. You had something to say about the silent discos?
Yes, it's all happening.
Oh, she's. There's no way she's coming back. Oh, there.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Oh, so clearly our daughter has a poopy diaper, just so everybody knows.
Yes, we're learning potty training with the toddler. So,
this is the best.
Stuff. I was just talking about something a while ago, Turbo. I wanted to let you know is that those silent discos, there's two different colors. There's just two different stations typically. So either you're like red or blue, and you're both. So there's only so many songs you can be listening to, and so that's how you know. Super lame. It's actually I had a really good time. Justin thought I was stupid on the cruise, but it was really fun. That's all I had to contribute.
It just seems so. Hi, Emmy. It just seems so crazy. Just the idea of like, oh, you're a blue, I'm a blue too, or like, and that might be a good way. Maybe that's how you pick them up.
If you're,
right? Like
if you're,
you walk over and you're a
blue,
red, and you're like, beep.
You're like, hey, I was blue, but you're cute, so I'm going red. Silly. That's just silly. That is just.
I'm red
silliness.
now, baby.
I hope that that's not part of the dating scene. What?
But
go ahead.
Hey, bro, it's worse. It's worse. It's worse than that, bro. It's way worse than that. Like it's terrible out there. It's terrible out there, bro. Like it is the worst experience all the way around. Like the whole game is right. Like
let me ask you a
dating
question.
app. You just look at them. You're like,
Okay,
would I have sex with this person? Yes or no?
So then here, Here's the deal. Metaverse. Let's shift this into, so we talked about education. Education, we unequivocally understand that education will have a very, very big impact throughout the metaverse. What about love? Are people going to fall in love in the metaverse? Are you going to, now you've got the ability, and obviously, you know, with a haptic suit, you could feel touch, but you're not really going to physically feel it. But you could open your dating pool to the whole world, I guess, at this point, and you could find someone that you vibe with. Does that sound attractive to try to meet somebody in a metaverse versus a dating app?
Well, Jay, it is 10 o'clock, which is the workout time.
It's 11 o'clock. Oh, you're in Central Time Zone. That's right.
Oh, yeah. Golly, that's so stupid.
Yep. Let's get it.
But it is time to.
We'll talk about dating in the metaverse.
Yep, it's time to get to it. Yep. I want. Most definitely. I think I'm gonna do some squats, some more than dumbbell squats, guys. Whatever you're doing, you better ask yourself what we doing. It's the boy Ness Gorilla. Let's go. Get up out your seats. Let's work out. There you go. Yeah.
What we doing? How you saying wag me, but you laying bad seeds? What we doing? Hey. Projects getting pumped just to end up getting dumped. What we doing? Hey. Got the whole space jumping, but they never give us nothing. What we doing? Tell me what we doing.
Let's go. Come on, let's work.
On board, all my haters from Concord to time board. Do it, cause Dylan never got more. It's all love. We got to lead by example because it's all us. So what is we gonna do? Seen a lot of cricket things in my time. Feels like my ties. Best friends split over fine bronze. End of the day, we all each other's lifeline. Cause what's the point of winning without someone to share it with? Always spreading love no matter how rare it get. Used to ride the heavy nowadays, I ain't care if it did. I'm making music for myself, I don't care if it hit. I'm just sharing the clips. Gotta match what happened to that boy. Shit. Lot of pain in my heart, what happened to that joy? Had to tap back in, didn't want to lose that boy. A lot of black bitch had to mute that noise. So what we doing?
Guys, you're 1 minute in. We got one to go. Come on. Come on, what you doing?
Projects getting pumped just to end up getting dumped. What we doing? What are we doing? Got the whole space jumping, but they never give us nothing. What we doing? What are we doing? Tell me what we doing. What we doing?
30 seconds. Come on. Do the last one. Over. Oh. 20 seconds. Don't you quit at the finish line.
Dude, I'm gassed. I'm done.
Okay. I got you, bro. I got you, Jay. I got you. Come on. 5 seconds. 3, 2, and man, fantastic job, guys. Welcome.
Screw you, man.
Welcome back.
Make me feel like a wuss.
I love that jam. No, bro. I got you, battle buddies for life.
Thank you. Whew. Those last couple sets, those last couple reps got me.
Welcome back. I like that. Man, we're gonna be, I'm telling you, hunks and hunkettes. Wait. The women are supposed to be foxes.
And the guys are supposed to be beasts and foxes.
We're beasts. That's right, we're beasts. We're beasts.
So, are we gonna get those beast bodies in the metaverse too?
Well, hell yeah, it's gonna be way ripped up. You know what? I think I'm gonna keep my. I'm gonna get super ripped, so that way I can use my own body in the metaverse. So at least I'm coming to the table like, yo,
this is me.
It's just not a catfish.
I'm ripped.
So
and a catfish.
They meet you in real life, and they're like, what?
So do you
the
think,
only thing fake on my avatar is the big ass diamond?
So do you
It'll
think
be a huge diamond?
Okay, so do you think the dating profile of you in the metaverse will have to be a doxed full body scan of yourself?
Yes.
Michelangelo.
Have to, man. That's the only way. You know what I'm saying? Because if not, they out here catfishing. I didn't get you what you said, Reach. I came in.
Oh no,
I said
I bet you there will be an app or a project that does something similar like that to Tinder, and one of their join requirements is a full body scan. Which there's already technology where your phone, you can set it down a certain distance away, and it can do a full body scan, but it'll force you to do that. as your avatar for you to join those worlds.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome. What is it? Is it? Man, I forget now. It's Everdome and MetaHero. They're not exactly the partners that they once were. Who's the one that scans everybody in? That's MetaHero, right?
That one I'm not sure about. I haven't seen that one.
Or maybe it is Everdome. Who knows?
Metahumans?
I'm forgetting right now. It's been a while since I've thought about that metaverse. But I do know that the hyper realistic, to me, that's where it is, right? Like when you can scan your collectibles, your wearables, your whatever, and they become like hyper realistic. That to me is where the metaverse that I want to go in. Right? I'm going to participate in the other side with Yuga because I'm in that ecosystem. I have all the assets, everything. But to me, where I want to do business, where I want to participate is more of that hyper realistic thing. And I think, however we can get more of these scans, however we can get more people to, build the wearables and all that stuff that you could have in real life, but you could also put on your avatar. I mean, sky's the limit. I don't even know why I went there. My brain's cooked from all these workouts today.
No idea. No, I love it, man. And look, when I look at you on the camera, when I'm looking at the StreamYard, bro, you are live. Like I'm hearing you and seeing your lips move at the exact same time. And so that's why I'm just like, I don't understand where the Twitter thing is. So but that's okay. We're gonna figure it out. And that's gonna be the thing too in the metaverse, like when we get delayed and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like they'll be a little bit ahead. I did finally watch Ready Player One.
Ooh.
And you talked about love in the metaverse.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And he found his chick right out the gate. The only thing that she had was a huge birthmark across her face. And bro, he looked right past that. He looked right past it. You know what I'm saying? So shouts out to my guy out there. No, I loved it, man. I thought the movie was great. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah. But to be honest with you, and I would love to hear other people's opinion. Now, this is the first time in my entire life that this is the case of. I thought the movie was subpar. I thought the audiobook was one of the most captivating things. There were times when my wife and I had something to go do, or we would go to a restaurant. We would literally go, while we were listening to this, we would sit in the car for 30 minutes to get more of the book in just before going into the restaurant because it was just so good. Narrated by Will Wheaton. He does a fantastic job of reading it. So in my opinion, the audiobook was far superior to the movie. Now the movie gives you the visual, right? Go ahead, Seven.
I second that, Jay. The book, I read the book, and then when the audiobook came out, somebody told me about it, and then I listened to him like he read the book so good, dude. He
so well.
Crushed it. But then you got the visual part of it, and I loved it just because I play a lot of video games and watch a lot of shows, so I got a lot of the references and stuff. But the audiobook is a completely different experience than the movie.
100%.
I never read the book.
I didn't read it, but you should do the audiobook.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna add that to my list. Definitely get it downloaded so that I can check it out. Because I mean, everybody has definitely said that, but I thought the movie was incredible. I think that just the ideology behind the film and like that's a real possibility. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously some of those things probably go to a little bit extremes, but I mean, like the reality of people just being completely sucked in. I mean, look at us, like. I went through that phase where I was like, damn, I am completely sucked in. So like I need if I'm not going to interact with like humans in my environment from my own community, then these people that I'm meeting and like over this metaverse, over these Twitter spaces, over the Twitters, then I need to go see them because I still need to be around people. And 100%. So like the social grooming and everything's going to change so much.
We just got to make sure that people don't get trapped. Reach, what are your thoughts on the whole idea of people finding love in the metaverse?
I think it's possible. I definitely think whenever there are ways for people to connect, there's always a chance for people to connect on that deeper emotional level. I don't know if you guys are fans of or have heard of. Actually, most people have heard of it. C.S. Lewis, the guy who wrote Chronicles of Narnia. He has tons of other books. Highly recommend. But one of the things he talked about when he was talking about meeting his wife was a secret thread of connection that binds people together. And he's like, whether that is you liking the same things or being passionate about similar things, there are some people you just find that connection with, and you're like, this is different from anybody else. And there are people who have found that through exchanging letters, through texting, through randomly meeting somebody at a coffee shop. I know that gets hallmarked way too much, but that does happen. So I think providing a method for people to connect and meet each other, that opportunity is definitely there. I think there's definitely some things to look at, and like, are there ways that people can necessarily facilitate that with like dating style virtual environments? I think absolutely. I think there's definitely a market for that. Kind of like we mentioned earlier with projects making you scan to join into that, but I think it's 100% possible.
I think it just, it gives people the opportunity, and please feel free and welcome. We got Bambi popping up on stage as well. So, anybody that's up here, and if you are in the audience and you want to participate in the conversation, if, you're just kind of getting here, remember, this is Web3 Breakfast. We are a show for the community, by the community. So if you want to speak, if you want to participate, please just raise your hand. You are more than welcome to come up here and participate in this conversation. We just have one rule: don't be a douchebag, so no racist, sexist, and homophobes. Other than that, your participation, your opinion, and your participation in the conversation is welcome. And just to kind of see about what you think about finding love in the metaverse. And I think very much to the same thing that I said here about Twitter Spaces, where people can be more vulnerable. There will be opportunities for you to get into a conversation, or into a room, or into a club, into a bar, whatever, where you don't have to actually feel like you have to go to a club to meet somebody and drink and get drunk or whatever, or do drugs or whatever your case may be. I'm not here to judge anybody. That's not what I'm saying. But, you can now put yourself into that position where you can go meet people who are out being social. And is maybe, that's the opportunity now for you to have a conversation in a different environment. And then you can go, to a quieter place and continue your conversation, and you start to learn from each other, that kind of thing. I think that the metaverse is going to provide a great opportunity for people to meet each other, much like dating apps and the internet do now, but I think on a different level, probably a more intimate level, especially as things develop. And again, you add in haptic suits and all that kind of stuff, and now you could feel some slight of touch or whatever. It's going to be a great opportunity. It's just, remember, at the end of the day, like, you just don't want to fall in love. Like, what was that movie with was it Joaquin Phoenix, where he fell in love with Siri, right? Her. Thank you. Like, and that's just the thing. Like, you don't want, someone to just like fall in love with this idea of, their perfect person is, behind this computer, and now you've fallen in love with your computer because that's your, the only thing that you can like physically touch, that kind of thing.
Bro, that's why all my bots are named Tammy. You know what I'm saying? People think that stuff's funny. It is. I'm not gonna lie. Shit is kind of funny. But in reality, I mean, it really is a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this thing's going to know us on an emotional level. And the metaverses are going to know that too, right? Like, the metaverses are going to grow and they're going to expand. And I think that this human connection is going to change tremendously. Because like, I mean, that was the biggest problem, like coming out of my marriage, right? Like, my ex couldn't understand any of this, right? Like, she couldn't see it. It was so far out of her realm of belief. And I was so much of a believer that we lost that connection. Yo, but we got a special guest in the building. Bambi. What up, Bambi?
Yo, what up, man?
What up,
dude? This metaverse love conversation, guys. Like, this has already been going on, man. There's tons of people. It's called Second Life. Y'all heard of that, right?
That's like an old one, right?
Yeah, dude. People were obsessed with that for years. People are still on it too, and I think it's like 12 years old now.
I'm looking.
There's a lot of people that have met on there, got married.
The release date, it's actually 20 years old. So developed and owned by the San Francisco-based firm Linden Lab and launched on June 23rd, 2003. So coming on just about 20 years now.
Yeah, that's by far the most successful metaverse project that's ever been created.
Would you say, would anybody argue, or would you agree or disagree that this particular environment that we're in right now, this Twitter space, while you can't see us in Twitter space, you could if you log in on the live stream, that this would be considered the metaverse? And maybe because we're seeing people with almost 1 million, when you get like the Mario and the Elons and the presidential things, and you got like, hundreds of thousands of people in there, could this be considered right now's biggest metaverse?
I think that's a really good question.
If we're going to define metaverse, I think there's two prevailing definitions of metaverse that I see most of the time. I mean, there's a third one, that any virtual environment where people can communicate over the internet and congregate roughly en masse. I think that's your broadest definition of metaverse. I think the next most narrow version of metaverse is adding the element that it's a 3D virtual environment where there's some increased level of immersion and interaction beyond what we would consider Web 2. So getting to the point where you're no longer just looking at a web page, but you're immersed in it and you're actually in the web page, interacting in environments that are more akin to reality than to traditional ways of interacting. And then the last way, which is the most restrictive, would be a virtual environment that then has ties to the blockchain or other Web3 technologies, and using blockchain levels of verification, where that virtual environment almost becomes a UI and user experience of these blockchains, and immersive levels of ownership, where you're applying more than just the third dimension of reality to these environments on a digital level, but also applying the level of ownership and immutability of the real world. So where you're very comfortable with, this is chair 1 of 100 that were built, there are no other chairs exactly like that, being able to apply that level of ownership with NFTs to digital environments and interacting with them in that way. That's what I would consider the most restrictive version of metaverses. Personally, my definition falls kind of more on the second one, where it has to be some level of immersion in 3D. But that's still up for everybody's interpretation.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Bam, go ahead.
I was just going to say that, like, I think that the blockchain aspect doesn't necessarily need to be there for it to be a metaverse. You know, like, I think that the concept of creating a alternate reality for your own, like, life mimicking activities that's something that's been around for a while. You know, and like Second Life is definitely what I would call a metaverse, right? If anybody isn't familiar with it, definitely go look it up. It's one of the oldest metaverse projects there is, maybe the oldest. But also, I was gonna mention that, you know, in some ways people could call WoW, you know, World of Warcraft, like in some senses, you know, metaverse type experience. People have met there, got married, have conversations, buy and sell goods. Some of the currencies from these, you know, WoW is able to be bought on an open market. Like, I haven't played WoW, but this is what my recollection of these things about it. So I think that another part of your definition does hold water, though, when we say that, you know, it needs to mimic reality in some sense. Because if it mimics the real world, then it kind of differentiates it from a video game to, you know, an actual metaverse. But then again, you have to ask, well, like, if somebody makes a metaverse game or a metaverse experience and it has fantastical, you know, concepts around it, like, you know, aliens or, you know, you're on different planets or different cool environments, then, you know, is it still a metaverse? So I don't know, you know, it's a hard thing to try to define an art form, which is really, I guess, what it is, right? An art form.
Hey, let me ask you.
I agree, and I think I would 100% agree that Second Life was the most successful, I think most adopted even, metaverse project. I think it was just ahead of its time. The technology didn't support, or just couldn't support, the vision it had quite yet. I imagine if that came out right now, with or without any level of Web3 connectivity, it would be massive, especially with like what we're seeing with Apple pushing towards XR and mixed reality with their headset. That's a whole nother level of immersion, of being able to have people in that. I mean, that's getting almost to the level of Star Wars having holograms meeting one another when you have meetings, if you have your headset on. So I would agree with pretty much everything you said.
Golly, how cool would that be?
What's that? Oh, sorry, Justin.
No, you're good. I was just saying, how cool would that be if you literally could go into this little hologram meme tube and have a conversation with somebody? Like, hey, you know what's going to happen? Like, definitely something to think about and hope for in the closer future than the later future. But go ahead, man.
Oh, I was just gonna say that, like, for me personally, I just really love reality. I'm just talking about my personal level. Like, I love the real world. I love, like, the challenges of it. I love the physical challenges. I used to play a lot of video games when I was a kid, and it was a way for me to detach. It was a way for me to, like, escape my situation. You know what I mean? So I just like, oh, everything's terrible. I'm just gonna go play video games so that I don't have to deal with my, actual life, which is really annoying. And I wonder if, like, this isn't another form of escapism. If, like, this concept of like embracing these technologies and, like, integrating them into our life, AR, VR, like, gosh, man, it's just so much. It's so much, especially when time is so precious. It's like, it's hard for me to, hey, dog, sorry.
No, but it's, to like what you're just saying, though. I mean, that was kind of the whole point of the Oasis, right? It was that opportunity for people to escape what was happening. Like, you were living in the stacks and it was a shitty situation, but now you could log into the Oasis and you could be, Parsival, the number one, whatever, egg finder.
Dude, that's a really good point. That movie is actually a really good point. And I think that the most important thing about what you just mentioned, the aspect, is that in this future, it's a dystopian future, and you have to go into the Oasis to escape.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, is that the future we want for our society? Is that what we want to do? Gosh, man, that's tough. That's a tough question.
But I think that's why we are. I was going to say, I'm sorry about the delay, but that's the one thing that I think is important about all of us being here, right? Is that because we recognize that this is our opportunity to make a difference in ensuring that it doesn't happen, right? Like, for us to walk away knowing that this is the reality of what we could be going into, for us to walk away and say, oh, well, I'm not getting involved. Well, then you're just as much of the problem, right? Like, if you're taking advantage of people and scamming them, right? Like, you're the problem. And so as we continue to have these conversations and we talk about it, right, we have Reach here, they're working on their Metaverse project and other projects. I think Bambi, he is working on a Metaverse project as well. Game looks amazing. This is where we're heading, right? So we're making an influence and impact and a difference right now because we're having these conversations. And so Reach, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think what we can work towards is definitely avoiding that. I think there's an element to where the augmented reality is actually the healthy escape from that, where if we just hard stop at virtual reality and putting on a headset and getting immersed into a virtual world, I think there is a much higher danger of that becoming an escape and that becoming something that people turn to and hide away in, and forgo the other things, like you were saying, the healthy minds and healthy bodies and healthy portfolios, where you're avoiding that because you're going, I'm putting everything into this world. I mean, we've seen people do that with video games. And I mean, there is a level of ultimate responsibility on the individual. But I think when you're looking at augmented reality and mixed reality, you can take what the 3D infrastructure that is being built, and you can overlay that with reality. And that in that way, you're able to actually provide additional value to being in the real world. And you're no longer making it so you have to choose, like, am I going to engage with the real world or am I going to engage digitally? But you're going, I'm engaging with the real world and I'm having digital benefits from that. And I think that's where we can have a much healthier relationship with the virtual and with these kind of 3D worlds, by having them provide additional value to what we're already experiencing. For example, with augmented reality, when you're walking down the road and you have like a store in there, you look at it and their menu pops up next to it, and you can get quicker access to information. I think those are some areas where it can be more beneficial than the potential for detriment.
That's a really good point. And, it made me think, it's like, well, what's the most successful augmented reality project of all time? And I think unequivocally, it's Pokemon Go, right? Like, that was an AR craze. I mean, people all over the world were playing that.
A dude fell off a cliff.
It actually got, Well, one dude fell off a cliff, but it also got a bunch of nerds to go around and walk, and that was good. You know, so one guy can't, doesn't mean that like.
Well,
so that guy chose to fall off the cliff.
True. I just meant, that it was a very feverish thing. Like people were just, it became like, the absolute sweep the nation, or I don't even know if it was a global thing or if it was just here, to be honest with you. But I know it was just everywhere here in the United States and when it was happening.
Yeah, it was massive. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. But it did have a benefit. It made people go outside that would normally just be inside playing a video game. I think that's kind of interesting. Like I don't even know if that was an intended consequence, but I would say that overall it was a net positive for society because it forced some kids to go walk around and get some exercise or whatever. And so it's not necessarily a bad thing, right?
So does that, let me ask you a question. Anybody, feel free to chime in, but Bambi, does that lend itself then to the idea and the notion, that we've said, countless times, on this ecosystem, is that we're one app, one game, one something away from hitting the absolute critical mass adoption, right? Like it's going to take just one. And like, so if we have a Web3 version of what Pokemon Go was, like, that's it, game over, end of story. Like, the floodgates open because now people are coming in. Is that something that you foresee happening, that there will be that moment where something is created in Web3 that just captures the attention of everyone?
You know what? It's a great question, but I think it's already happened multiple times. I mean, look, if anybody listened to Spaces last night, there was a parts of the conversation where that dragged on for a long time. But somebody made a really good point. Bored Apes became something that is globally recognized. When that Beeple piece sold, that made global news. So I don't think that there's a silver bullet, but it is happening in stages. And so like each major breakthrough, it changes, our trajectory a little bit more. And I think that it's one of those things where we need to start meeting people where they're at in Web3. Like, I think too often we build stuff for Web3 and not for the world. If we build things for Web3, then we get where we want to go, which is people interacting with our goods because they're quality goods, rather than people interacting with our goods because of the speculative value that they might hold, which is a lot of what happens in the space right now.
Absolutely. No, that's a fact. Grateful. You got
grateful.
Go ahead, Grateful.
So
Yeah.
silly.
So to the Pokemon Go and everything, and maybe is it okay if I just ask a question really quick about a project and about
absolutely 100%.
Is that all good?
Yep.
I'm not trying to like shill stuff or be speculative and talk about games or anything, but maybe Reach or anybody else that knows, just because this is like your selective niche. So to my understanding, in 2021, there was a project I did very well on that is just completely fallen off a cliff, but it's called Revamon. And as far as I understand and remember, Revamon is being created by the developers of Pokemon Go. And at first, there was like some copyright issues with Pokemon and everything. So they basically changed some things and created Revamon because of those copyright issues. They were pretty much like, well, we don't feel like dealing with all these legal issues and everything. We're just going to create our own metaverse. It's called Revamon. But yeah, Pokemon Go was a massive craze. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think that, partnering with larger brands is key, right? Like things that are already recognizable. So like, Pokemon is obviously still held by Nintendo, and that'd be off the table. I don't think that they're moving towards Web3 yet, but I haven't looked into that, so I don't know. But Bambi is a popular icon, like it's a well-known icon. There's others that are public domain. So that's one way that we can reach people where they're at. Reach, the name itself reminds me of Halo, right? So, you're touching on there. You may not be doing it directly or even intentionally or indirectly, but there is a brand, connection there. So I think that it's one of those things where if we take things that people are already familiar with and then push the move in a way that draws the eye towards like what we're doing, and they don't think about it as Web3, but they just think about it as cool, then we've kind of hit the bell. Like we've done exactly what we were intending to do.
I think you're right. Well, for Reach, we're not yet. The Halo connection was not intentional, but we were more looking at is reaching out to connect to people. And then also we changed our logo not too long ago to this one, and then Apple came out and their headset looks so similar, so similar to the point where like if we'd done this change after they'd announced, I would assume they would probably sue us. But we did it first. But to your point of Web3 gaining adoption, I think yes, building off of existing things people understand, but also making it so that people can easily at least dip their toes in without needing to know everything about Web3. I can't remember who said it earlier, but talking about how we have a tendency to build for Web3. And I think it's really easy, especially as you get in this space and as you've been in this space for a long time. Like Reach has been building for a little over a year and a half, and there are things that I will think are common knowledge, and our team will have to scale it back and go, no, we've got to think about if either like a high schooler or a grandmother were to look at this. That's the goal of how easy we want this to be to use, and I think a lot of Web3 projects can do that and make it so you don't need to know everything about Web3, but you provide on-ramps and education so that when people get in and start seeing the value in it, then they have an easy way to start integrating those Web3 elements, the newer technology, and see the actual value that it provides. And whether they're directly interfacing with it or not, or whether it's something that's kind of smoother on the back end and then just provides that security, I think that's for each project to figure out. But that's where I'm a huge proponent of having a free to use or a demo version of your product that might be Web 2 or like Web 2.5 almost, for people to just get their foot in the door and lower that barrier to entry. Because that's something that for us, we've been super passionate about from the beginning, is how do we remove as many barriers to entry? For us, it's building metaverses. So making it so you don't have to have 3D development experience, or you don't have to know how to code on the blockchain to get Web3 connectivity into your world or game or what have you. But I think that translates to a lot of other projects as well of, can you make it easy for people to join and access? Because accessibility is what leads to the functionality and creativity that we all want to see in Web3, because we see it. We're like, this technology is insane. The value that it can provide, the utility is great, but how are we getting people onto it? And then I don't think we're one app away, unfortunately. I wish we were. I think it's just going to take a consistent development and addition of more tools, more things to push adoption. But I think those big hits that we'll have, I think those are going to bring more eyes. It's kind of like when a meme coin on a certain chain pops off. It brings a ton of eyes to that chain. And then I think you see a slow bump of builders after that who get attracted and then go, okay, well, how can I do something here? And then they see, oh, well, this tool makes it easier. This tool makes it easier. And then they start going from there. What's up, Turbo?
And you know what time it is. Let's go. Welcome to the Web3 Breakfast. We are coming to our last and final workout, but we got to get around the room here a little bit. We got Bambi in the building, not your average meme coin. It's a dream coin. That's Bam over there. I see the DOB in here. He's a creator and the host of the DJ and Blockhead show. That's the DOB down there kicking with us. Oh my gosh, is it? It is. It's Joe, cross-chain baby, NFT and crypto community. She's a diamond hand, And this next workout is going to be a mental one. So take your opportunity right now to find you a nice seat, sit back, get ready to close your eyes, and get into this next mental workout. With Web3 Breakfast, guys. This is your mental workout.
Oh, I can't wait, dude. I'm going to meditate.
Imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the dreams given to you by life, the ideas that you never acted on, the talents, the gifts, the abilities that you never used. And there they are, standing around your bed, looking at you with large, angry eyes, saying, "We came to you. And only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever." And the question is, if you die this very moment, what will die with you? What dreams, what ideas, what talents, what greatness that you showed up to bring? Don't allow fear of failure and the attractiveness of playing it safe in life to draw you in. You can't get out of life alive. You got to die to leave here. You have something special. You have greatness within you.
You were born phenomenal. Listen to me. You were literally born phenomenal. Like the whole process. Like there are like 5 million options in the womb. We're not talking about one sperm cell and one egg. There are 5 million options out of 5 million options. You made it.
Make their way through a complex series of environments in a kind of warfare. It is warfare.
Innately, everything about you is great. Everything about you is phenomenal. But the problem is, you have consciously chosen to be average. You are average in school. You are average in your workplace. Everything you do is average, and not because it's average, but because you made a decision. You made a choice to be average. Why? Because the people around you are average. Or maybe you grew up in an average environment, or went to an average school, or you work for an average company, so you decided to go against who you are. You decided to go against who you are. So that's why
this is your opportunity right now, guys. Fantastic job. That a way to get through these workouts. That was a mental workout brought to you by Beast 45 Fitness. You guys, for those of you who are in the community, who are actually in the actual community chat, you will be able to get that link very soon, and possibly with an opportunity at a discount. You know, I got to talk to Jay Chains and see, how he's feeling about that. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, this has been a long time coming, man. This is, it's exciting to see this thing finally come to life. It's exciting to know that we're about to change, so many lives. Not only, mentally and emotionally, physically, financially. Bro, this is it. This is the juice.
I will not be average. I choose to not be average, and I hope you guys choose not to be average as well. That's like, dude, I appreciate that. Like, I love when we take kind of like a second to just reset the mentals, fucking take a deep breath. Like, I laid on my floor. I switched on the floor cam, and I just laid there and listened, man, and took some breaths and just took that in. I tell you what, man, the biggest takeaway from all of that I listened is that I choose not to be average. I am not an average person. I don't want to be. I never will be, and I'm okay with that. And if I make a wrong decision here and there, it's okay, because I won't stand for average. And I hope that you guys don't stand for average either.
Yeah, man, mine is definitely, don't let them dreams die. You know what I'm saying? Bring them to life. They're yours. You know what I'm saying? And if you can't do it, if you can't do it on your own, find the people around you that can understand too. Go for them, man. Don't let them just die. At least give them an opportunity at life.
Big fan of that. All right. But that's also like, you could tie that right back into the whole metaverse thing, right? What you're talking about, like you have the opportunity. Remember, like, everything's being built now. What are you into? Like, what makes you tick? Is it mental health? Like, you can create a whole mental health ecosystem in the metaverse. Like, is it physical health? You can create a metaverse gym, like much like what we're doing. It's like we're live streaming workouts. Like, anybody at any point in the world could log in, watch what we're doing, and follow along. Right. And it'll get better. Like, we'll have the workouts boomed up onto the screen. So if you are watching at home, you can see like what we're seeing on the app. I mean, it's like literally the sky is the limit when we start to talk at the metaverse and what the potential is and what your potential is to be a creator, to be a builder, to be, you know, an entrepreneur, anything. Like sky's the freaking limit, baby. Let's go. But we're years away. I
Fired
think
up.
2 years, there were too many years away, I think, for this to be a realistic thing. And so you have to be a visionary, right? Like Reach, like tell me what your thoughts about this is, you know, like, you know, for us to live in this, you know, fully immersive, you know, metaverse world where, you know, you can work or I mean, and I know there are platforms that are already set up this where you could do your, you know, your conferences, your meetings, all that kind of stuff. But until we're like fully there, 5 to 10 years, in my opinion, probably closer to the 10-year mark. But not out of reach. Like, and kind of going back to what I was saying a second ago, what are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, you know, I've been saying this for
Reach.
a long time, actually. Okay. I didn't hear Reach. I didn't hear it. I'm sorry. This is something I was excited about. Damn. All right. Go ahead, Reach. Take it away.
It's all good. I would also agree. I think we're a little ways off. I think the software actually is further than people realize. And there are two elements that will get us to the point where people are using 3D virtual environments in their daily life. I think there are a couple of factors that prove this. One, the sheer increase in virtual reality being used in business. I think in the US alone, it increased like 30 to 50% over the past couple of years, the number of businesses utilizing virtual reality. And we have a client that all they do is they build physical, like they'll do some simulation work for clients, and they'll do employee training in modules for clients in virtual reality. And I think that is going to be where we'll first see adoption. I think it'll be just like computers, where you would see the bigger industries starting to like forcefully, because they see the value, go, everybody who's here is going to do this training. And then people go, oh, I like that value, I'm going to take it home and do it as well. I think we'll see some of that as the business growth and adoption increases. But I think you're right on the 5 to 10 years till we start seeing people using these virtual environments in their day-to-day life. I think you'll see people finding like, oh, I'm gonna do a morning meditation. I'm gonna throw on my VR headset and do that, or I'm gonna use this new augmented reality glasses that are now cheaper and more available. I think those levels of immersion are coming. And I think we've seen, for example, Apple's new R1 chip that allows for way faster processing of sensor inputs and data to be able to live stream things and have that level of augmented reality actually functional and not super laggy. Because especially when you have near perfect visual acuity on these displays, the eye and your brain is so quick at picking up things that are slightly off. So people would notice that. So I think that the hardware is quickly catching up to where the software and where the vision is. And for us, one of the things that I think is going to take off, and this is what we've built our business model around, is individuals wanting to create their own virtual worlds and environments. Kind of like we talked about earlier, with the younger generation being more and more comfortable in 3D virtual environments. I think you're going to have people who, just like you in the olden days, I say olden days, it's not that long ago, they'd make a website for something, or you make a website for your business, or you make a website for, like grandmas would make websites to share their kid photos or their grandkid photos. People, I think, are going to start doing that in 3D environments, and that's what our tooling is for people to do. And there are lots of other projects that are providing those tools, and I think that's really where we're going to start seeing the next levels of adoption, is kind of the democratization of 3D creation. I think that's really where it's going to start tipping the scales into daily adoption.
I love that. Really quick, and kind of what you were just talking about, it made me think of that. There was that one website where they sold like every pixel or something like that, right? And it was like the first website that made $1 million or some crazy number like that. Does anybody remember that?
I remember hearing about that. I remember Reddit does something, I think, every year where everybody gets a pixel, or you can log in and change pixels, and communities would draw things all over the board. I think I want to say it's like the wall or something, but it's a similar concept.
Okay, so here's what it is. Yes, it was the $1 Million homepage. The $1 Million homepage is a website conceived in 2005 by Alex Tu. He was a student from Wiltshire, England, to raise money for his university education. The homepage consisted of 1 million pixels arranged 1,000 by 1,000 grid. The image-based links on it were sold for $1 per pixel in 10 by 10 blocks. So yeah, he made $1 million to do that. That was like one of the earliest things I remember where someone totally cashed out using the internet. Wow, I guess no, because when was the dot-com boom was earlier than that, wasn't it? Like earlier 2000s, like 2002, 2003.
Yeah, 97, 98 was the boom. The bust was 99, 2000.
That's right.
So I mean, you know, I don't know if everybody knows the story of Amazon, but it's pretty actually quite wild. I mean, they were literally, you know, boxing up books in Jeff Bezos's garage, and literally like taking the boxes to the post office and shipping them. That's just like that's just wild, wild to think about. That's I don't know. It's pretty cool. That was in 97, I believe.
Speaking of Amazon, when the heck is their NFT marketplace coming out? What is happening?
Oh, dude, big companies move slow, man.
Well, it was supposed to be April, and
yeah, but I did. I did want to say, you know, basically on the last topic before we get too far away, it was just that this idea of people being able to sit at their house, right, and then walk into the metaverse, go into a building, go to their actual cubicle, and be able to access the files strictly from that computer system. So there was no other browser, right, they'd be able to access to get this. And it'd be a huge benefit of like call centers, right? Because now you know exactly how many, you know, how long they're sitting there, how many times they click. You'd still be able to get up and go over and see, you know, Jenny over in the other cubicle and talk to her. But all of that data would all be tracked to see, you know, like what your actual workload or your work rate was. And so that's where I think it's going to go because, you know, like you don't have to have an insurance, you don't have to have a building, you know what I'm saying? People will stay in their own houses. We've already seen it through the that scare that happened. I'm not going to say its name. I don't want to get it taken down from YouTube again. But we've already seen it happening. So
yeah, that is a crazy thing, and it is gonna be interesting to see, you know, when we have, you know, corporations start to, whether they are closed loop ecosystems for their own metaverse for their employees. You know, now you've got you could call it privacy issues where they are now going to be monitoring your activity through your home computer. I mean, all that stuff gets kind of scary, but I mean, if you are working for a company making an income, I assume, you know, you're going to have to agree to some kind of, because there are people. I know my brother-in-law, he works for he's like some kind of claims adjuster. He's like a regional or national claims adjuster for a major insurance corporation, and it's that same kind of thing. Like, you know, they track activity, like they know if he's on his computer or not. And you know, so that's already happening now on computers. Like, imagine when we go into the metaverse where people like can log into your webcam, maybe. That's part of like the conditions of your work. Like, hey, like we just need to know that you're at your desk, and you know, there's no better way for us to pop your camera on, see if you're there.
I mean, people did that for I know for schooling. They instituted things like that during during the pandemic, that you had to be on camera, and it could tell if you alt tabbed or were looking at different screens, and your test would become inadmissible and just immediately fail. I had some friends who had issues with that.
Yeah, that you know, all of that is gonna, you know, really be at some point. And you know, I think you know, this is a whole other conversation that we can have, and maybe we could save this for another day. But and we've talked about this, you know, with some of the things that we do, like air travel. Like at some point, you trade off your privacy for the convenience, right? Like I have Clear. I trade. You know, I've given my eyeballs and my fingerprints to, you know, to Clear, so that I can get through the airport, you know, much more efficiently than having to wait in the long ass line. And that's okay with me. That is something that I'm comfortable with, trading that privacy for the convenience. And, you know, some people argue the same thing with your phones. Like, yep, I look at my phone and it opens up. You know, I don't care. Like I do understand the whole argument when people are like, you know, that just because you're not doing anything wrong shouldn't matter. Like it's an invasion of your privacy. I get it. But at some point, the conversation becomes, at where are we going to trade off the conveniences for the privacy? I think that's a personal decision, but I think the metaverse is going to be another place where this is going to be applicable.
100%. Hopefully I get in here before it gets too far out. You know, like, I mean, that's the thing for me, bro. I don't care. I'm with it, bro. I don't even care. Look, I was just gonna see if I come through your stream tomorrow. We'll work on that. I don't know, but this is definitely. I definitely understand why when you get frustrated you rage with all this stuff. I get it now. You know what I'm saying? You like got everything right, and then it starts acting crazy. I'm just ready to break something, but that's okay. That's all right. You know what I'm saying? I have my mental break. I'm not going to be average, so we're going to work through whatever comes our way. But in all that, like, I don't care if they watch me. You know what I'm saying? If they really are watching everybody's YouTube, they've seen everybody naked. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's probably people out there doing better, and it's definitely people doing worse. You know what I'm saying? So I guess if they remember me personally, call me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
That's weird. Oh, I love that. That was amazing. No, but really, but you have to have that conversation, and I think you have to have that conversation with yourself, right? You know, what conveniences are better for you that would give up your privacy? And like, again, you know, I don't want people spying on me, and I don't think anybody wants people spying on them. And that is something like unto itself. And like, you know, you hear the things about if you take your camera and you go in the dark with like an infrared light or whatever, you can see the thing takes like a picture every 30 seconds or whatever it is. Like, those are the kind of shit that drives me crazy, right? Like, I don't agree with that. Like, if there's a way to turn that off, someone tell me, please, because I would like to do that. But as far as, you know, air travel, making sure that I don't have to go to the airport 2 hours in advance. I can just basically walk right through security, even though Clear is starting to fill up now, which I need the next thing. I don't know what the next thing is, but I need the next thing because Atlanta, the Clear line sometimes gets a little long. But I am willing to certain extents. You know, I use an iPhone. I have everything Apple. Everything is connected, right? I am vulnerable to some extent now because everything is seamlessly connected with the computer, the iPad, the phones, all that kind of stuff, right? But that is the convenience that I'm willing to trade for the privacy, is because I like being able to pick up where I leave off on another device. And I think some people would probably agree with that. But, you know, anybody else want to share their thoughts on trading privacy for convenience and how that applies to the metaverse or any aspect of Web3, really?
Man, so I think it's a really interesting topic. I think that one, we need, and I'm sure everyone in this room is already there, become aware of just like really what's happening. Like right now, as you just go, we're moving beyond cookies when it comes to like privacy tracking, and we're getting into more like hardware tracking. And what you can do with that is kind of like becoming crazier and crazier. I think it goes back to what you were saying, Jay Chains, when it comes to, you know, going to the airport. You made the choice to give up your privacy so you can get that convenience. However, if we go to like the phone example, like when I buy an iPhone, I don't like sit down and agree with iPhone like, hey, you should be taking a picture of my face every 5 seconds. And I think it's about, you know, where that line goes is going to be different for everyone, but making the conversation clear between, you know, the suppliers and the consumers about, you know, what are these sacrifices that are being, you know, made, and what are these trades? Because I didn't know about with my phone that was even a thing until like a couple months ago. I've had this for years. And I also think we have to be aware of, when it comes to privacy and information and data, like data is like the oil of the internet. So like everything runs on that. Everything when it comes to marketing runs on data. So we have to understand that if something's free, you're probably the product, and that you are, you know, trading something with that. So we need to be aware of like, hey, if I'm going on Facebook, if I'm going on Instagram, if I'm going on Twitter, and I'm not paying for these services, and these are multi-billion-dollar corporations that have to feed families and, you know, keep the lights on, then obviously something that we are contributing is being harvested and sent out for profit, or these companies wouldn't be able to continue to exist unless they raise money until they go into oblivion. So I think that understanding the benefits between privacy and not even just choice, but free, Like, are you willing to pay for your privacy? That's a huge thing. And I think with the metaverse, it's going to be even crazier because it's like, if like think about like Ready Player One and like in that movie, and the book was better in my opinion, but how they were able to track everything about him due to just him being in the console. And I think that, you know, having to look out for, you know, what from our real life gets leaked into the metaverse, that's going to be a huge thing. That I don't know what it's going to look like yet, because, you know, metaverse is here, but it's not really here yet. But those are the things I'm thinking about right now.
I love that, man. Thank you for coming up and sharing that. Anybody got? We're getting close to the end of the day here, of the end of the show. So, anybody, you've got any perspectives on, you know, any things that we talked about? We talked about love in the metaverse, privacy, all sorts of things. Reach, I definitely want to give you, you know, an opportunity to, you know, to do a final thoughts, and to make sure that, you know, everybody knows where they can find you, where to reach out to Reach, in case they got any questions or want to get involved in what you guys are doing. So before we do that, anybody else on stage or down in the crowd have anything that you want to add to the show before we start to wrap this thing up for the day? It's speak now, or, you know, hold your peace until tomorrow.
Nah, man, just thanks for having holding the space every day. You know, everybody give a lot of love to Justin here. He's one of the hardest working people in crypto. This guy is on spaces every day. He's consistent. Like, this dude is an absolute workhorse, and he deserves all the love and all the respect. And so just shout out to you, Justin and Turbo. You guys are awesome and so consistent, and you provide a great service to everybody. So I just wanted to say thank you. I'm sure everybody else does too, because, you know, you guys really, it's not an easy job, and you guys do it every day with joy. So, you know, kudos to y'all.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, no, this is to me, this is, you know, if, I know it's cliche, but if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And if this is what's chosen for me as my work, that I get to come here and hang out and communicate and learn from everybody else and be a part. Because remember, guys, I'm a Web3 community member first and foremost. I say it almost every day. And so I get the opportunity to come here and be a part of this, just like you guys do. And so this is the absolute, you know, highlight. I know my wife's in the crowd. This is the absolute highlight of my day. Between the hours of 12 and noon, Monday through Friday. I love you guys, and I appreciate the kind words. And, you know, Justin,
definitely good, safe.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you know, everybody that shows up and taps in. So, Reach, definitely want to give you an opportunity, unless anybody else has got anything else to say, to you know, give us some final words, closing thoughts, and then we'll wrap this one up for the day. Go ahead, DJ, before Reach.
Hey, you know what? Not for nothing. I just came to say what's up. You know, I cannot come in here and not say what's up and just sit there throwing these stupid ass emojis. You really don't hear the person. You really don't know what they really think is. Like, hey man, I gotta say what's up to you mofos, man. Like, and trust me, I was breaking a sweat this morning. As soon as I heard the music, y'all getting it in, I'm like, oh shit, here we go again. So for the most part, man, I'm just, you know, making it do what it do when I can. So shout out to y'all. Much love to y'all. And, you know, yeah, man, do your thing. Let me shut up now.
Appreciate you.
Oh, peace to everybody in the audience. Don't forgive me.
Appreciate you. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for tapping in, and everybody, you know, thanks for being here today. All right, Reach, this is your moment now.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Love the conversation, the community here. You guys have built something fantastic, and I'll definitely be popping back around, even just listening or saying hi. And I think you guys all have some great perspectives on the metaverse, where it's going. If anybody wants to build in the metaverse, I've kind of alluded to it, but our project, we provide tools to people. We make it easier for you to build. We want to see your dreams become realities. While we've been doing this, I've been building a little space for you guys to do this, potentially if you want, in a virtual environment. So I'll shoot that over to you guys afterwards so you can see it, test it out, see what you think. But if anybody wants to build, or just wants to reach out, or has questions about the metaverse, or just wants to chat, I love chatting with people about all of this and hearing how people came to Web3. So reach out to our Twitter, follow our Twitter. Our pin tweet has links to open the application, to explore the metaverse, to start building the documentation, to do all that. So it's easier than you think to get started. You just have to take the first step. So I encourage anybody who is slightly curious to start, just to get in there and start building. And there's tons of people who will come alongside you, who will build with you, who will answer questions. And there's tons of opportunities for people to work together. And in any way that we can facilitate that, we will. So love the community. Thanks for having me. Well, now that breakfast is over, have a good lunch.
Appreciate you, CJ. And you know what? We had actually, when we talked last week, I think we were thinking about doing some giveaway stuff, but we didn't market it. We didn't talk about it. I'd completely forgot about it. And I was looking at my notes now. So what I think we could do is maybe have you on again in a couple of weeks. We'll talk about maybe, some more things that have advanced throughout the ecosystem, and we can do that then. Because, I love the idea of being more regular in the metaverse, right? The last YouTube channel that I had, Meta Money, that was my focus, literally was 100% on the metaverse. That has kind of cooled off a little bit, but I think this is really a good opportunity. Now, we were talking about this later last week when, we're looking at NFTgo.io. One of the things that I like to do there almost every day is I will look at the land section. You can filter, those NFT collections by the land in the metaverse. And so it gives you an opportunity now, like if you want to be a digital landowner, like this is your chance to do that. This is your opportunity to find your place and to start building. And, much like, I think it was Cloud Finder who had said this, like if you're in the console, like whether you're in the console or not, like if you are immersed or you are not, it doesn't matter, guys. You want to just remember, like there's several things always got to do. And it's, the mantras that we have on the show, it's you take care of your mentals, you take care of your body, and you take care of your portfolio, right? So we got the healthy minds, healthy bodies, healthy portfolios. That's like the perfect trifecta. And I think, then you're going to be able to participate in this ecosystem that is the metaverse moving forward. So I had something else that was way more insightful to say, but it's that ADD brain. Sometimes things start rolling, you forget, and it's a fleeting moment. But I know it was good. So we'll get it back on track, and maybe we'll use it another day. But I definitely appreciate everybody tuning in today. This is again, this is my favorite time of the day. This is Web3 Breakfast. We come at you every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. So make sure that you tune in tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. It is Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. We are going to have another fantastic guest. So be on the lookout for the links and all that stuff coming up after the show today. But to everybody that participated on the stage, thank you. If you did just sit in the crowd today, that's okay. Thank you. Maybe tomorrow's your day to come up. And Adventureful Mama, that was a special one. Today was a special one for me. So thank you for coming up on stage, sharing immersive education in the metaverse with the community. So y'all have a great rest of the day. Make sure that you make yourself 1% better today than you were yesterday. Stack those days up, and you're going to be flying high, baby. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.